Next up, I should be joined by Hamda and Amna Qubaisi. Hello to both of you. I believe you're joining me from Miami.
Yes,
Hello,
we are.
yes,
Very nice, very nice. Why are you in Miami? What are you up to?
We're on a little holiday because we thought, after the first official test in Austin, it didn't make sense to go back home. Pretty long 16-hour flight, and to adapt to the time and schedule over here is going to be a lot more difficult for us, so we decided to stay.
I'm not surprised. I mean, what a lovely way to spend a few days. So you both drive for MP Motorsport, and you're sitting at the top of the constructors' standings. Congratulations, 372 points. I mean, it's been a pretty good season, hasn't it? Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's been a roller coaster almost, but quite good. Yeah.
Hamda, you're third in the championship at the moment. I mean, how have you found the F1 Academy this year?
Yeah, I found it very good. I mean, in the beginning of the season, I struggled a bit because of my injury, and it took me a while to adapt to the car again and to be able to extract the most out of myself. But, I felt like it was a good thing because I had less expectations and I started to perform better. And yeah, I think the results came naturally, so it was really good for me. And I hope we can stay on top of the constructors' standings and we finish like this for sure.
Yeah. Tell me about that injury, because this was an amazing story. You got injured right just at the start of the year, and it was a race against time, wasn't it? It was your wrist, am I right in saying?
Yeah, it was my wrist. Basically, my radius kind of snapped. It was mostly because when I crashed, I kept my hands on the steering wheel, and that caused it. So it was mostly because I didn't remove my hands, but it happened so fast that I didn't really think of removing my hands from the steering wheel. And I was also in sixth at the time. It was the last lap. I was so eager to finish in that position to get some points in that championship, and I was like always tense, and that's how it happened. And then it was in late February, so beginning of March, I had less than 2 months to recover. In 6 weeks, basically, I had to be back in the car for the preseason test in Barcelona. And I made it, but I only did 5 laps during that test. So I did nothing.
Really?
Yeah, I was driving with mostly my left arm. Nothing to do with my right arm. So just driving with one arm the whole time. And my father was very scared as well because he didn't want to rush into it, and then I would miss the first round because I rushed things. So yeah, it was risky, but at the same time, we had all the right people around me, to all the physios, all the good people around me to help. And we made it to the first round, and it was really good.
It's an incredible story. And I guess, when you talk there about you had low expectations, like there must have been a point before the season started where you thought, am I going to make it? Am I going to get to that first race? So how did you mentally stay on top of those emotions and just focus on getting recovery? Because it sounds like you recovered way ahead of the schedule that you were supposed to recover. Yeah,
basically the doctor told me I needed 4 months to recover.
Wow.
And I did it in 6 weeks, so it's a bit crazy. But I think, like, in the end, it's all a mental thing. And, I had also the people around me, everybody was always supportive and like pushing my hopes up. So that helped, that made a big difference. And also, like, going into the preseason test, even though I was like driving 5 seconds off in Barcelona, I went to Paul Ricard, and in the first session I was already P1 by like 1/10, but that's only because I'm eager to push myself and do well. And I ended that test around like P5 overall, P6 overall, I think, and it was still a really good achievement for me considering I couldn't even use my right arm properly. So yeah, it was good for me, and it gave me more hope because I was like, if I can be sixth like this, what can I do when my arm starts working like 100%? So it's just the mental strength started to be better, and I struggled a lot also mentally before the injury. So I think the injury helped me a lot and actually strengthened me even more. So
yeah, motor racing is quite a hard sport at the best of times, but if you've only got one arm to do it with, I imagine that makes life even harder. Amna, tell me about your season. How have you enjoyed the F1 Academy this year?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I haven't been racing for a full year. So I was always doing the Formula 3 Asia Championship, which happens in January and February once a year. And the last time I did that was 2 years ago. So I haven't been in the car for a very long time. So for me to be able to join F1 Academy for their great opportunity and to be able to start racing again and going to various tracks I never had the chance to visit for throughout my racing career was something, I found I wouldn't take for granted. I would say I completely, I hats off for Susie Will for giving us this opportunity, because now I'm back racing and I'm really happy to finally just be behind the wheel.
I don't think, just in case I didn't make it clear in the intro, you are both sisters, and I want to talk about that, because I was thinking of racing siblings, and you've got the Schumacher brothers, of course, Michael and Ralph, and then we've got Emerson and Wilson Fittipaldi. But I'm intrigued to get your take on what it's like racing as sisters, and you obviously race for the same team at the moment, so I guess there's a lot of working together, and you have a close relationship. But go on, tell me what it's like for having your sister in the paddock.
Actually, you're the first one who mentioned that we work together. Most people were saying, you guys were probably fighting the entire time or taking each other out.
Your teammates.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, we do help each other a lot. She learns from me, I learn from her. We use each other as reference. Some corners I'm good, most corners she's better. So we kind of like help each other in a way. And I mean, if we were combined together, we would be, the greatest drivers of all time.
So are you sharing data? Are you sharing kind of, like you said, all strategy and how to take corners? And yeah, tell me what other sort of things you share in terms of information.
Yeah, we share data and video, but also like on track. If, for example, I'm behind Amna, let's say in a race, and she sees that I'm faster, she slows down and lets me pass. We don't have this thing where we fight or we, we help each other because we know it's like the smart way to go. And yeah, so props to her. Like there's maybe 3 times this season where I was behind and she would let me pass because I was faster, and she would continue to follow me. So yeah, so it's really good. And in qualifying, we also help each other. She uses me as reference, or maybe in a track where a slipstream is important, we help each other. So it's good to have a sister in the team, because then we can negotiate and we can help each other, and it's always clear. So yeah.
I think Formula One drivers could learn a bit about teammates from you guys. It sounds all very civil over at MB. And then I'm intrigued to know about your story of how you got into racing. And I guess obviously, I know that your dad's a racer, and just tell me about how those early years started. How did you both get into racing?
So I started seeing my father competing when I was 9 years old, and I was full-time gymnast, so I was like part of the elite division. And I kind of lost that spark with gymnastics because, the competition is once a year and you train 364 times a year for that one very competition. I kind of like lost interest in it. So I was, asking my dad that I wanted to start racing at 9 years old. And he took my word when I was 14. So I started when I was 14. So yeah, I was pushing him. Oh, I want to race. Sometimes I would even go to the rental track just to, practice and do well and be like, yeah, look, my time is really good. I'm faster than everyone else. So you really should put me in karting now.
And Hamda, how did you get involved in motorsport?
For me, to be honest, it was something like, it just happened because for me, like I didn't even want to get into racing, which is the weird part. And like I was watching my sister for a year. She was driving in karting, racing in karting. And when I saw her, she was like very determined, and she looked like she was enjoying the sport. And I was like, I didn't have anything at the time, and I really wanted to try it out. So I tried it out. My dad put me in a rental race just to try. I always said, no, I don't like this. And he was like, just try. So then when I tried it, I loved it. So he's like, you see?
You were a reluctant racer. I don't think many people go down that route and sort of almost don't want to do it, but get pushed into doing it. Wow.
Yeah. It's because I was always like afraid, or let's say from the speed and stuff. I was more of like the safety side kind of girl. And she likes the risk and the aggression, but I wasn't like that. So yeah, but when I got into it, I really loved it, because then there's also a calm side to racing, which I discovered and I really loved.
And what was it like growing up in the UAE, and how easy was it to go racing? What did your weekends look like, or if that's when you raced?
I mean, it wasn't very easy because we had school during that time, and sometimes the race weekends were held during our exams or something, and it was very difficult to try and make our school understand about the sport because it's very new to them. They didn't understand, karting and the commitment we had to karting. So it was kind of difficult to balance that, but then eventually we had an understanding. Other than that, I mean, the competition level, I started in juniors, so it was really hard. The level already was super difficult for me as I started very late. So yeah, it was all about trying to gain experience, and it took me around 4 years to finally get a podium and win a championship. So yeah, the level in the UAE, the karting level is pretty high. I think people in Europe underestimate the level when it came to karting in our region, until they do compete and then they realize, oh, it's actually really hard.
And in terms of you progressing and getting more opportunities in the UAE, how easy was that for you? And particularly as women, how did you find that process because essentially you're trailblazers in the UAE, and it's an amazing story and it's great to see. So what sort of barriers and challenges did you come up against in that period of your life?
For me, when I first had the announcement to compete in Formula 4, people were not very open to it. I had a lot of criticism. I had a lot of people being, it's not a girl sport. It's mainly for men. Why are you in this sport? You should do something else, like something that's meant to be feminine. So it never really bothered me to listen to these assumptions and accusations of others. I just wanted to enjoy what I did. And my first sponsor was Kaspersky Lab, which was a European sponsor. So they were the first people to believe in me, and they were the first to sponsor a woman in general in motorsports. So I would say it was very challenging for us, actually, because we're from the Middle East, and in the beginning it was kind of taboo. But now people are more accepting and more supportive than they were the first time I started. So yeah, I'm happy to see the changes, and I see actually women sending me messages and telling me, because of you and your sister and your support from your father, my father allows me to do this and to do that. So I'm really happy that we were able to create an opportunity for other women.
That's an amazing story. And Hamda, what did you make of your sister going through that process, and how did you support her through that?
I think for me, her going through that process actually helped me. She kind of carved the path for me. So, and for sure to many other girls after me as well. So I think it was a good thing that she pushed it. She pushed my father to get her into the sport. She pushed it a lot. So then it helped me through. And now I know a lot of girls from the region who actually are in karting right now and are racing, even in Europe, Emirati girls. So it's a big change, and it's starting to develop. And yeah, I really like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, what's the change been then? So obviously in your careers, which are relatively short, you're not 40, 50, 60 years old, so how has it changed in the UAE and indeed the whole Middle East in terms of getting more women behind the wheel of racing cars?
It has changed actually a lot. We see a lot of girls competing in not just local girls. There's a lot of girls in general competing in the UAE in karting. We see a few competing also internationally, as my sister mentioned. So I'm really happy to see that change coming, especially, now motorsports is becoming more difficult. It's not as how it is before. With a lot of changes, a lot of drivers having so much experience, a lot of money being invested. It's more challenging than it was before. So to see girls still taking up on this challenge and competing, I'm actually really proud of them.
It's an amazing story. Before I let you go, I want to ask, this weekend, obviously, it's going to be a great spectacle, and and we're all looking forward to watching the F1 Academy on TV. What are you guys most excited about this weekend in Austin? I mean, you've just been there for the test, obviously. So get us excited. What can we look forward to?
It's gonna be really interesting because it's a support of F1. It's always interesting when it's supports of F1. It's also being broadcasted in a lot of channels and in my region, and I think we're gonna get a lot of people from our region also watching us, and then they could see what it's really about. So the coverage it's amazing, and thanks to F1 Academy for it, because now people in my country can see what we're actually doing and how different it is, because once you see it live, you understand how the racing is, and I'm sure the racing will be really close and very interesting. The season so far, race to race, everybody has been improving, and the gaps are getting closer, so it's gonna be very challenging and tough. So yeah, that's what it's all about, and yeah, we're happy to be a part of it.
See, that was a great sell. That was brilliant. Very good job. Hamda, Amna, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to watch the F1 Academy this weekend. And it's going to be broadcast live on Sky Sports. And as we mentioned, if you're not in the UK, it's going to be broadcast on loads of other channels around the world as well. So that's the F1 Academy this weekend. We'll be back next week. Until then, bye for now.